Here's some magic that anyone can do as long as they have the black jacks. These jacks are very special because they were designed with a mathematical quality. If you take a look at the jack of spades, you can see that he's holding an hourglass, and the jack of clubs looks like he's holding something that's close to a measuring stick. These represents the measurements of time and space. Even though these designs have changed over the centuries, this has always been the standard for a very special reason. And let me show you why. So for example here, I'll give the deck a quick little shuffle, losing the jack somewhere in the center. And then we're gonna need to split the deck in approximately half. So let's just say we cut the deck in half right here. So we have these two piles. Now let's say we have two spectators as well. I want spectator number 1 to name any number between 1 to 10. Let's just say they selected the number 5. So we're gonna deal simultaneously 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because of the mathematical quality of these jacks, they should both, well, I guess it didn't really work out this time, but one random jack appeared. Let's try this out one more time. Let's have another number selected. Let's say spectator number 2, they pick a number between 10 to 20. All right, so spectator number 1 picked 5. This guy's gonna pick, let's say 11. Let's try it out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And if we take a look, the cards are, okay, this is not really working out. I'm sure there is a principle behind this and why this normally works. I think what needs to happen is there has to be some correlation between the two numbers, and that's how the mathematical property works. So the first number was 5, second number was 11. Let's take the difference between those two numbers, and we get 11 minus 5 is 6. So check this out. Let's count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we take a look at the 6th card at each of these positions, we find that there are 2 black jacks. Boom. What up, crew? It is Magic Monday, and this is your place to learn magic, master your performance, and captivate audiences. To give you some background on this effect, it is known as Mathematical Blackjacks by Henry Christ. I did jazz it up a little bit in my performance, but it's truly something that anyone can do with almost no practice. So now before we dive right into the tutorial, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and get ready to fool all your friends. Now grab your favorite deck, and let's do it. Welcome to the tutorial, my friends. For those of you who are curious, by the way, these are the Silver Artisan playing cards by Theory 11. So shiny. So breaking down this trick, like I mentioned, it's very basic beginner level, but I think if you want to really sell the effect even more, I'd recommend doing what I did in my performance. That's not the jack. What's going on? So I'll teach you how this trick was meant to be performed, and then along the way, I'll show you the variations that I did right at the beginning. So to start, of course, you need to grab the 2 black jacks. What I love about this trick is it revolves around the story of these 2 black jacks. And I think that's really going to be very vital to have people more invested in this whole effect. So just again, a quick recap. You're taking out the 2 black jacks and saying one of the black jacks is holding an hourglass. The other one is holding what looks like a measuring stick, representing time and space. And they were designed very specially because of this mathematical quality. So the designs have changed over the years, but they have pretty much stayed the same for, I guess, this standard for a very special reason. So let me show you why that's the case. Now you take these 2 jacks. After you explained all that, you can even let them, feel the jacks around, and then you close them right on top of the deck. Now at this point, ultimately the point you want to get to is having these jacks in 2 separate piles with one jack on top of one pile and the other jack on top of the other pile. There are a bunch of different ways that you can get here. I guess the initial method that's taught is to either give the deck an overhand shuffle or a Hindu shuffle, so maintaining these cards on top. So the way that I like to maintain the cards on top with that shuffle is I toss over a small packet of cards, in jog like this with my thumb, and then I continue shuffling. Then I can come over to where my in jog is, and by the way, usually it's not this far out, it's a lot closer. I go down and forward, continue shuffling all the cards above the jog, or above the break, and then toss that over, maintaining these 2 jacks on top of the deck. So what I actually did in my version of this effect is I did that, right, where I did this, shuffled, I got here, shuffled to the break, and then I shuffled 1 extra card, in-jogged that card, and threw the rest over, and then I split the deck in half at that point. So you can see those 2 jacks are on top of each pile. What's taught in the book is that you can do a slip cut. So what a slip cut is let's say you shuffled up the deck, right? You give it a false shuffle, or you can even give the deck a false cut. One of my favorite false cut looks like this. I swing cut about a third of the deck over, so holding the deck in a biddle grip, thumb on bottom, middle ring finger on top. Cut the deck like this, pick over about a third of the deck, cut it over to the other hand, put my pinky here, cut over another part of the deck, having that gap or a break between these two cards. What's remaining in my hand goes down on the table, then everything above the pinky goes down, and this goes down. So we have those 2 jacks still on top, right? So you can false cut, false shuffle any way you want. And then they did this, the slip cut. So what that looks like is, let's just say now you're saying we'll cut the deck into 2 halves. You riffle to the side here, and then as you're lifting up this packet, you're gonna grab it with the fingers that are holding the deck here. So as you're lifting up, you grab these cards, and you see you slip that card right off, and we have 1 jack here and 1 jack here, right? So doing this up to speed, right? Let's just say you give the deck a false cut, losing the jack somewhere into the center. Now you need to break the deck into 2 halves. We have 1 half here and 1 half here. Both, of course, have these 2 jacks on, or each has 1 jack on top. Of course, the spectator doesn't know that. The spectator is under the impression that the jacks were lost somewhere into the center of the deck. And once they were lost in the center, we cut the deck into 2 halves, all right? So that's pretty much the only change of handling that I did for this effect. Man, that light here is blinding on these shiny backs. Hopefully that's slightly better. Now you can pretty much do exactly what I did in my performance, where we have 2 spectators. Spectator number 1 picks a number between 1 to 10. Let's just say they pick the number 4, right? Or let's say 6. You're gonna take 1 card from each pile at a time, but if you have 2 spectators, you can actually have them do this to really invest them into this effect even more, to have a stronger reaction by the end. Have them deal off 1 card at a time until they get to their number, so 6. 6. And I like to deal them to the outside of this deck here. Now you have them flip the cards over, and you're like, okay, those are not the 2 jacks. But in order for this to work, we need numbers to correlate, because this is based off a mathematical principle. So now these 2 cards here, it's a very important step right here. Turn them face down on top of the piles they were on, and then put both these piles back on top of the deck. Now you turn to spectator number 2, ask them a number between 10 to 20. Let's just say they said the number, 14. They're gonna count down again. 14. You flip these 2 cards over, and you're like, okay. Now, of course, those aren't the 2 jacks. I wasn't expecting that to be the case. But here's where the mathematical correlation comes into play. So the first number selected was 6. The second number we selected was 14. Right? Am I forgetting anything? Just to be sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, it was 14. So you turn these 2 cards face down again, except this time, I like to pick them up and show these are not the black jacks. This time you take these 2 cards and put them into the center pile. So here, go to the center piles, and then put these piles back on top. Then you ask to do the subtraction to have the correlation between the 2 numbers. 14 minus 6 is 8, so they count now last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I like to take these piles, put them back on top of the deck now, and say, what do I say? The mathematical correlation between them has been completed, and if we turn these 2 cards over, you'll see these are the 2 black jacks. For more fun stuff, check out this video right over here, because it's what's best for you. As always, a huge shout out to all my Patreon producers. We have 1 new member this week, Pave Solanki. I appreciate you. And of course, thank you, love you, see you soon.